You know that sound, right? That kind of warm, maybe a little dusty lo-fi hum. It's like the soundtrack for studying or late nights or just chilling. It's absolutely everywhere. A huge vibe.
Oh, absolutely. Instantly recognizable.
Yeah.
And it has this real connection, doesn't it? Back to, the grit, the happy accidents.
Yeah.
That whole DIY thing from early hip-hop. Finding samples, that raw loop.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that sort of handmade feel baked in. But for this deep dive, we're looking at something really interesting. A bit of attention, maybe. We're digging into how the super advanced tech AI tools that can rip songs apart, vocal removers, stem splitters, that kind of thing, how that interacts with a genre so rooted in imperfection.
Yeah, we've been looking at some sources. One piece really unpacked it well. And our aim here is to figure out, okay, what are these tools? How do they actually work? We found some good examples.
Right.
And then tackle that big kind of tricky question. Are these tools just making things easier, boosting creativity, or are they changing the fundamental, feel of lo-fi, its soul?
Okay, let's start right there then. What exactly are we talking about? AI stem splitters, vocal removers. What do they actually do?
Think of them like digital scalpels for sound. They use artificial intelligence to take a finished track, a whole song, and sort of intelligently pull it apart into the main bits.
The different layers.
Yeah, the vocals, the drums, the bass line, other instruments. They're designed to isolate these, even when they're all mashed together in the final mix.
So instead of just one big sonic soup, you suddenly get the carrots, the potatoes, the onions separately.
That's a good way to put it, yeah. The sources we looked at mentioned tech like Spleeter, Demucs, generally tools you might find in software like iZotope RX. It's a massive jump from the old way.
Which was,
painstakingly searching for a tiny moment where the kick drum wasn't covered by the synth, or trying to grab a vocal line but accepting you'd get some background hiss too. You just had to live with the bleed.
Right. So the AI promises a cleaner cut where before it was messy or impossible. Okay, so how does it work in practice? Say I'm a beat maker. I want to use one of these. The source mentioned Beat Store Upon as an example walkthrough.
Yeah, the process described is actually surprisingly simple, which is, a big part of why people are using them. Step one, you just upload your track. Any audio file, basically. MP3, WAV, whatever.
Okay, simple enough. Drag, drop. Then what?
Then comes the creative choice.
Yeah.
You tell the AI what you're after. Do you want it to just remove the vocals, leaving you a nice instrumental? Or do you want only the vocals? Maybe to sample a little snippet or reverse it or something. Or do you want the whole thing split? Drums here, bass there, vocals over here, maybe other instruments too.
And that choice completely shapes what you can do next, right? Like if you want to add your own drums, you'd grab the instrumental. If you love the bass line, you isolate that.
Precisely. Your goal dictates the kind of split you ask for. So once you've made that call, step 3 is basically the AI getting to work. It crunches the audio, uses its algorithms to figure out what's what, and separates the sounds.
And then spits out the results.
Step 4, exactly. You get back these individual files. The stems, a vocal stem, an instrument stem, which might have bass, keys, everything else combined, or sometimes even more broken down stems. Depends on the tool.
Got it. And step 5, that's where the real, creative part starts with the separated bits.
That's it. You've got your ingredients now. You can play with them, remix them, layer your own beats underneath, loop a section, pitch it up or down, change the tempo, build something new. The article really emphasizes this isn't just extraction. It's about enabling transformation.
That sounds incredibly powerful, that level of access. Which leads us right into the promise, doesn't it? Why these tools are genuinely exciting for creators.
Oh, massively. They're really democratizing things. The source made a strong point. You don't necessarily need, thousands in equipment anymore, or years of engineering know-how, or crates full of vinyl to start making cool beats.
Right.
Suddenly, anyone with a computer can grab these tools, access sounds, and just start creating.
It feels like it just dissolves a lot of the technical hurdles, makes the barrier to entry way lower.
Yeah.
And the speed, the convenience, upload, get stems back fast. It lets people skip maybe the tedious bits and get right to the core idea. Cutting through the fat, I think the source called it.
Yeah, which, in theory, that should mean more creativity from more people, right? More diverse ideas getting out there.
And here's that tension again that the source kept circling back to. Is this kind of ease, this progress, is it a shortcut that loses something vital? Is AI really helping amplify your unique voice? Or is it kind of pushing everyone towards maybe a similar sound palette? Where's the line between art and convenience?
Yeah. And this is where that whole debate about the soul of lo-fi gets really intense. One major argument against these tools is about what gets lost. The source suggested, look, AI reconstructs sound based on patterns it's learned. It doesn't feel the music, right? It can't sense the subtle swing in a drum beat or the emotion in a vocal the way a human does.
It's analyzing, not feeling.
Exactly. And there's this argument that splitting things too perfectly, too cleanly can actually strip away that soul. Because for lo-fi especially, the magic often isn't in perfect separation. It's in the blend, the bleed between tracks, the texture, how sounds kind of bump up against each other in the original messy mix.
Yeah, I mean, the whole aesthetic was built on things not being perfect. That vinyl crackle, the hiss, maybe a slightly wobbly loop, the noise floor, those are part of the charm. Features, not bugs, you know? AI seems designed to erase all that.
Right. It's attention, perfection versus imperfection. If the genre's beauty was partly in those glitches, those limitations of old gear, then making everything surgically clean. It feels almost contradictory, doesn't it?
It does. And does it kind of chip away at that DIY spirit? You know, the romance of digging through crates for hours, manually looping tape, the whole magic of struggle that came from wrestling with quirky old machines.
That's definitely part of the concern. And then there's the other angle. If everyone starts using these tools to pull clean stems from the same, say, popular old soul tracks, are we just going to end up with slightly different versions of the same perfectly separated sounds? Does it risk making things a bit homogenous? Losing that thrill of the unique, authentic find?
Yeah, that's a big worry, a potential loss of character.
For sure. That's the side arguing something precious is being lost. But the source was also clear. There's a strong counter-argument, which is that these tools, if you use them with real intention, with creativity, they absolutely can be powerful ways to amplify your own artistic voice.
So the tool itself isn't the issue, it's how you wield it, like a paintbrush.
Precisely. And especially for people just starting out. These tools remove a massive technical barrier. They let you jump straight into expressing musical ideas without needing, years of training or a studio full of gear. It helps you bypass the technical stuff and get right to the creative heart.
Okay, that makes sense. But even with that potential upside, the source pointed out there are still limits, right? And questions that hang in the air. Like, can AI really replicate that hands-on, tactile feeling of working with physical records or instruments, that craftsmanship?
Yeah, and it also noted that the more sophisticated the AI gets at separating, the more some of those tiny subtle things, the nuances, the slight imperfections, the analog warmth might get smoothed over or lost in the process. It's like focusing so hard on the grammar you miss the poetry.
That's a really good way to put it. And it does make you wonder, where does this all lead? Could these tools eventually become so good they start replacing the creative decision-making too? Where's the point where the human touch just fades out?
And thinking about the process again, if you get used to taking songs apart like this, dissecting every layer, maybe even what feels like its soul, does that make it harder, maybe less intuitive, to figure out how to put pieces back together in a way that feels genuinely authentic, either to the original vibe or to your own new idea?
Yeah, this deep dive really crystallizes that central dilemma, doesn't it? These AI tools offer amazing power, amazing convenience. They could open up lo-fi creation to way more people.
Definitely.
But they force us to ask really fundamental questions about what defines the genre. How important is imperfection to its identity? What does authenticity even mean when the technology changes so fast?
And the source kind of landed here. Like any tech, AI stem splitting isn't inherently good or bad. It's just a tool. The crucial thing is the intent behind how it's used. The quote was something like, use the tools, don't let them use you.
Right. Which leaves us, and you listening, with this thought. As AI makes getting sounds easier, potentially making things sound more technically perfect, how will artists intentionally keep or inject that raw, maybe chaotic, unpolished feeling that was so core to lo-fi's beginnings? Or is the genre just going to evolve maybe into something cleaner, more structured, fundamentally different from those crate-digging, tape loop origins?